Hello, everybody. Welcome to week 2. This week, we're going to continue building our magazine layout. We'll be designing our feature spread. According to the instructions here, we will be continuing using our defined theme determined in week 1 for this feature spread. Now, the difference is that we will be working on a layout which will be somewhat different than the layout that we did for our editorial piece. However, we've established a number of paragraph styles that we are going to use consistently through the entire publication. One of those styles that I will be using consistently is my body style, the body copy style. One of the first things that I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to show you, hello Jessica, how are you tonight?
I'm doing all right.
How's everything going with your work?
Well, it's getting there.
It is, huh? You have
Yeah.
any issues that you want to talk to me about while we have a moment?
Yeah, I definitely do. Every time I try to get the paragraphs to set up where I need it to be, and I've been going into character and character style for some of the stuff, and then I did the paragraphs, and it seems like it doesn't want to work the way I need it to work.
All right, well, I'll tell you what. Hold that thought for a minute. When I get into Adobe InDesign, we'll take a look at some of the settings, and I'll show you what I did. And hopefully by me showing you these things, it will give you some ideas as to how you might adjust yours. So just keep that thought for a moment and give me a chance to get through a couple of things up front, and we'll deal with that, okay?
Okay.
Hopefully we'll deal with that. Hopefully. All right, here's what I'm going to do. Give me 1 second here, because what I'm going to do is stop the video. There we go. That's gone. Okay. All right. So let me do this. Let me just start off by talking very briefly about this. I got to the point where I was saying we're going to be working on our feature spread. Last week we did our editorial piece, correct?
Yes.
Right. So the important thing for you to understand about this is that there are 2 things that involve the layout of a magazine. Number 1 is a certain amount of consistency from article to article. So, in other words, you're not going to find pages within a magazine, different type styles and different settings very often, okay? Like, for instance, your body copy that we're going to be using in mine, I use the exact same body copy style in this article as I did in my editorial, and I'll show you that. But my layout is different. So that's the important thing, is that you can modify the layout, and you can see when you look at what I've done, and we'll get to that shortly, you're going to see something significantly different in my feature and in my editorial. Are they good? Are they bad? Well, you know, again, that's judgmental. But the bottom line is they're significantly different from terms of layout. However, the elements, I use the same font, I use the same font weight, I use the same font size, I use the same leading for my body copy, and I make it fit. So that's the important thing that I want to point out here, is that, you know, there are certain things that you have freedom to modify to make your pages look unique or your articles look unique. But at the same time, there should be a thread of consistency, and utilizing the same font size, weight, and leading from article to article is one of those things that you do. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. So the important thing is that you make sure that when you do your editorial piece, that you're happy with the font size and the leading, and that it works nicely with that font size and with that leading. Because once you've established that font size and that leading, you are almost forcing yourself into using that in your feature spread. And that's not a bad thing. It's just part of the process. This is, you're talking about a magazine, and there's a certain level of consistency that you find in magazine formatting like this. And you know what? You have this similar thing happening in the web. Generally, you find that your body copy in the web is usually around the same size. It's just the nature of the beast, I guess, is the best way to describe this. Okay?
Yeah, I mean, because I like the Gotham, the headline I have.
Yep.
It was the body copy part of it, and I did new Romans, New Times Roman.
Time New Roman?
Yeah, and for some reason, it was just it's not working correctly for some reason. I don't know.
All right. Well, let me do this. Let me just, again, let's hold off on that for a second, because I'm gonna go in shortly, and I'm gonna take a look at mine. And when I go in there, I'll go over my settings, and you can see what my settings are, and you can see whether you've got settings similar to mine. Again, I'm not going to get into more on that right this second, because I got to get there, and it will make more sense when we're actually there. Okay. So just
Okay.
a little bit patient, but we'll definitely address that issue. Okay.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it got, I was up, and I didn't realize what time it was, and I looked at the time, it was already Sunday morning.
Uh-huh. Well, I'm in Blackboard. You could have come in and seen me in Blackboard.
But it was like midnight.
Yeah, I work until 12 o'clock. Actually, if you want to know the truth, I'm in New Jersey, and midnight Mountain Time is 2 o'clock in the morning, my time. So I'm actually up Saturday night till 2 o'clock in the morning, so that I can be up to midnight Mountain Time.
Oh, okay. Because I know when you said Blackboard, I was like, well, it's Mountain Time, so he's already gone.
No, I'm there till 12 o'clock, which means essentially 2 o'clock my time. I don't know where you are located. Where are you located?
I'm Central Time.
Oh, Central Time. Okay. So Mountain Time would be what? About the same for you?
No, an hour behind.
Oh, an hour behind. Okay, so I'm Eastern Time. Now I'm 2 hours. I'm 2 hours ahead.
Oh, okay.
I'm 2 hours ahead. So that's why I'm saying 12 o'clock Mountain Time, 2 o'clock my time.
Okay.
7 o'clock. I start 7 o'clock Mountain Time. My time, it's 9 o'clock. I start 9 o'clock my time, but it's actually 7 o'clock Mountain Time. I know it's nuts, but that's just the way it works.
Yeah, because my sister lives on the East Coast, so I should have known.
Yeah.
Different, but I never can keep a track, because I have one sister that's on the East Coast and another sister on the West Coast. So
yeah, that's a little bit tricky.
I'm down south. So, and then I got my grandparents where they're Midwest.
Oh yeah.
So it's kind of like trying to keep a track of who's what, what time is it for everywhere.
Okay. So, all right. So anyway, I will deal with that momentarily, and we'll see how it goes after you see what I do. And if you still have a question, or if you still have an issue, I'm not opposed to sharing the desktop, your desktop, and having a look at what's going on with yours. We could do that as well. So we'll see. Let's just wait a minute, and we'll get there. I got a few things that I want to deal with before I get to that point. I also am going to be giving another 2-hour session tomorrow morning from, I think it's 9 o'clock to 11 o'clock, which would be 11 o'clock to 1 o'clock my time, right? 9 to 10, 10 to 11, 11 to 12, 12 to 1. Yeah. So I'm actually going to be going from 11 to 1, but don't get confused. It's 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Mountain Time. 2 hours tomorrow morning. Yeah. So if you're able to come there too. I will be. That's when I'll be doing my second session. All right. Did you? What?
I'll probably just come in tomorrow, and so if I have any more issues, I'll watch, because I watched the video. I mean, I think
I was just about to ask you about that. Okay, yeah. You weren't here last week?
No, I was not able to. I was so sick.
That's okay. No. It's okay. What I'm asking this for is, you watched the video.
Yes.
Okay. Were they okay?
Yeah, I loved them. I mean, you went through all the steps, and it was perfect.
Okay.
keep rewinding because
No, I know. That's one of the unfortunate things about it is that you have to kind of, find your place where there's some. What I generally do when I get a video like that, I keep a pencil and a pen handy and a pad of paper. And when it's something that I look at and I think I may have problems with, I pause the video and I take note of the time where it began. So I can automatically just scroll to that point. And I do that through the course of watching a video. So that's something you might consider doing if you haven't done that already.
I did have some, and I have with last week being so foggy because I had a sinus cold, really bad one. And I think you heard me on Tuesday.
Yeah.
I could hardly talk because it was just so bad.
Yeah.
This week I'm good.
Good.
My head is clear, and I'm like, I want to
Well, you probably feel better too. And I'll tell you what, if you're feeling better, you're going to be more attentive, and things are going to be clearer for you. When you're not well, when you don't feel well, I just go from my experience. If I'm not feeling well, you can talk to me, and half of what you're saying, it's not even registering. You're just not there.
That's how I felt this week, and
Yeah.
I was like, and then I didn't realize it was already Saturday, and I was trying to finish that up before midnight, and I ended up getting into Sunday and didn't realize it was Sunday already. It was like my days and nights were kind of combined because I couldn't really sleep either. So
yeah,
Sunday I went to bed at 8:30.
Yeah.
And slept all night.
Yeah.
And I felt so much better in my head.
I know. I mean, when you're sick, you do that. I understand completely. And I've had times when, I've even had times when I had to teach a class and I felt sick. And I just have to tell you, in my head, it was a disaster because I knew I was messed up and I was trying my best. But, it's just like you're just not yourself. You're not there 100%. So very tough.
And that last week I was not there 100%. My head was just clearly, and my kids had FFA stuff to do, and it's just.
Help me out with something here, because I don't exactly remember. I got like 25 students. When you submitted your week 1 assignment, I gave you a critique.
Yes.
Okay. Was my critique clear for you? Did you understand what I was trying to say in it?
And it was about the paragraphs and the character styles, and there were some missing too, I guess. I don't know how that happened. So I'm like, I was going through it today, and I'm like, But I got my week 2's discussion done first before I started messing with that.
Right.
And
so my point is, though, did you understand clearly what my critique was?
Yes.
Being fair?
Yeah, I understood everything, and I was like, oh, okay. Well, I'm going to, when I was like, today I'm getting in class, I'm going to ask him a few questions on the paragraphs and the character styles.
Yeah, we're going to look at them tonight, too. The important thing about doing this work is that you keep a certain perspective in mind. I know it's very important that you guys put together portfolio pieces for when you leave school. I'm not trying to say that that's in no way important. It's very important. I get that. But what's most important in my mind, even beyond the ability of you to put together portfolio pieces, is that you learn the techniques that we cover, because those techniques are what you're going to be using from the time you learn them forward. And that's what's most important. So, if you make mistakes, I try to explain what I think the mistakes are and mention, if I can, some sort of solution for you, or, tell you that you need to do this or you need to do that or whatever, because again, you're learning these. There may be things that already coming into the class, but there's certainly going to be things that you don't know.
And the weird thing is, layout, I can remember when because I did offset reprographics printing when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
And the computer, the Command C, you had to start the computer with Command C.
Yeah.
And now I'm working on a Mac and going, it's almost like a Mac, but I was like trying to do the same thing. I was trying to remember what I did last time and how I set up a layout and
Yeah. You might not even be using the same program, because if it was far enough back, Adobe InDesign was almost non-existent at one point. At one point, they had a program called, geez, and I can barely remember the name of the program. It's been so long since I've had it. It's, what was it called? Quark Express.
yes, I
Yeah.
remember that.
Yeah. And
Yes.
Quark Express was an absolute horror. It was really the worst. It was depressing to work with that program. It really was. And I actually am so glad that it's literally bit the dust. It's pretty much gone. I mean, I don't know when the last time I came across anybody that was using that program anymore. It's just basically essentially dead. And it's good, because it's, good riddance to it. This program InDesign is so much better. So anyway.
I love InDesign. I mean, I can, when I'm trying to make something, like my daughter wants me to do her invitations, so I'm going to do her graduation invitations. I have one daughter that's a senior this year, and it's been quite hectic and busy because she graduates in May. Trying to get everything set up for her, and she wanted me to do it. She didn't want nobody else doing it. She wanted me to make the invitations and her invitation to go out. And I've been looking at templates and all kinds of stuff, and I was like, man, I wish I could figure out. I said, I know InDesign has something like that. I can do it. I just got to figure out how to work all the controls, and I'll be good.
Well, you'll get there. This is what this course is meant to do. And there probably will be, before you get out of the school, another course or two on InDesign. So you'll get more out of it. But again, we've got 3 more weeks, and we've got a number of different things that we're going to accomplish in those 3 weeks with InDesign. And I hope to be able to show you some things enough to give you some new insights into what you can do with this program. There's a lot you can do with it. So
yeah.
The assignment instructions that we have here are very similar to the assignment instructions that we had last week. Obviously, it's going to be talking about the fact that we're using pages 3 through 6 for this feature article, as opposed to 2 and 7 for the other, like we did. It says you're going to be setting up master pages. Well, in effect, we already did that. Unless you want to put something new onto your master pages, the only thing that I used my master page for was to put the year and the name of the publication on the bottom and page numbering. So that's what I use my master page for. And you can go ahead and you can use that if you would like. We have a grid determined already, so that's sort of built into the cake, so to speak. We have, hopefully, I did, I don't know about you guys, I assume you did, you should have, created paragraph and character styles. Now, mostly I created paragraph styles, and last week I went into a long talk about why I use paragraph styles over character styles almost exclusively. And we're going to be applying these to headlines, subheads, pull quotes, and all that stuff, and body copy. We have some text boxes that we are going to be linking. We linked them last week, and we're going to be linking pages 3 through 6, all the frames that we're going to be using, text frames we're going to be linking. And you have copy that's provided, and it's important that you use all the copy. You are required to use any images that they supply to you. I personally found that the number of images that they gave for me to use was insufficient. They also gave you a link last week to a source where you could get free pictures, and I covered that in class. And in my announcements, I also mentioned that I found another site where you could get free images, and I put that link into my announcements. So frankly, if you want to know the truth, there's 2 different places where you can go to find images for this article. And I'm going to show you shortly that I have a number of pictures that I picked out. I even got more pictures than I actually use. But I went in and grabbed a bunch of pictures because they're free, and we could use them. You're going to create pull quotes like we did in our first week, the first article. And then, of course, here you're going to export the PDF of just pages 3 through 6. Most of you did export pages 2 and 7. Now, some of you did not. Some of you exported the whole thing. I was okay with that last week, but this week I'm going to ask that because it says right here, submission instructions, export a PDF of pages 3 to 6. I showed you how to do that last week, and I will do that again. I will show you that again. It's very easy to save it as spreads. I'll show you how to do that as well. And, of course, you know how to name this and so on and so forth. So, basically, those are the instructions. You know where to find them. I found it in week 2 assignment. You can go and look at them all you want, but basically, that's it. Okay? So, unless you have some particular questions, Jessica, do you?
Yeah, okay. I used the images from the free website because I didn't want to be the same as yours, because I did the herb one.
Yeah.
And I actually got different. I was trying to find different herbs, but I wanted like salsa and some other things.
Sure.
So I found a few of those, and I did like you said, and put them as TIFF.
Yeah.
And MYK.
Well, I'm going to go over that. I'm going to go over that again tonight because, see, last week when you guys exported this as a PDF, I wasn't able to check to see whether you did this. But here's the important thing. I think in week 4, you're going to probably package this and you're going to send it to me, and I'm going to open them up and I'm going to look and I'm going to see whether you've converted your images to CMYK from RGB. And if you haven't done that, and I don't mean just you, Jessica, I mean anybody. If anybody hasn't done that, then you're going to have to go back in and you're going to have to fix that and resubmit it. It is absolutely essential for you all to understand that when you're working with print like this, you're working in process printing, and the images can't be in RGB. They have to be in CMYK. Now, there are a very few number of printers that will accept them in RGB. There's some sort of a printing process that they use where the RGB is acceptable. I don't know too much about it because I've never had that situation occur. But I do know for a fact that images that you put into a print document should be in CMYK. That's why I made a big deal last week of showing you how to go into Photoshop and convert the images from RGB to CMYK and save them as a TIFF. I'm going to even do that tonight because it's very important that you understand. I really want you to do this because I want you to learn that's part of this process. And I mean, I'd be a bad teacher, a bad instructor, if I didn't stress the fact that this is an essential thing to do. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right. All right. So, at this point, I'm pretty much good with this. So what I'm going to do is, before I get into showing you Adobe Photoshop and InDesign, what I have here, let me open this up. There is the copy for this is my copy. I'm doing the fresh herb thing, okay? Your copy is going to be slightly different if you're doing the other magazine. You said, Jessica, that you're working on the herb magazine, the cooking magazine, right?
Yes.
All right, so this is your copy. This is what your copy is going to look like. Anybody that's working on that magazine, this is what your copy is going to look like. If you're working on the other magazine, your copy is going to be somewhat similar to this. It's just going to be different copy, but it's going to look very similar to this. Here's the thing, and I mentioned this last week. It's very important for you to understand this. This copy has extra returns there. You see where my cursor is?
Yeah.
Can you see it flashing?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's a blank line, a return, a space. They are no good. You do not want them. You understand?
Yeah.
Okay, so what I want everybody, and that's why I'm doing this first, because I want to make sure everybody clearly understands that this is something you really need to do. You need to go into your text and you need to hit backspace and remove that extra space. Now, you still have a paragraph return. Amanda Powers, I am a herb fanatic, are different paragraphs. That's a paragraph, that's a paragraph. You understand?
Yes.
Okay, so then you're going to come here and click again and hit backspace. My favorite fragrant food ends a paragraph. Fortunately, those days are gone, begins a new paragraph. So you're not doing any damage. All you're doing is you're removing extra space. That's extra space that you cannot control. That's why I want it gone, because I want you to be able to control the space between paragraphs. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Yeah, very important that you do this. And I'm just going to go down and take a moment, and I'm going to do all of it because I want you to see me do it. It's that important, okay? And there's looks like a subhead there. So I'm just going to keep going down, and I'm going to keep removing that space. I am going to come in here, and I am going to control this space with either space after or space before. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yep. Yes.
Great. It's very important that you understand this. Those extra lines of space are no good. You want them gone. So it will take you a moment or two to do this, but you're just going to run down through this thing, and you're going to just remove all the extra lines of space out of here. You don't need them. You don't want them. Okay?
Yeah.
So I'm going to get done with this in a second. Let me just go. I got a little ways to go. I want this. I'm preparing this copy. I'm going to use this copy tonight. So I want to make sure, and I might even have one here. I don't know whether I do or not. Let's see. Nope, I don't. Enter. There we go. Okay, so there's not one there. That's fine. Okay, that's jumping from page to page. That's why you see that space, so don't let that throw you. Okay, so I'm getting close to being done here. All right, let's keep going. All right, and almost done. Let me see this here. This is, hold on, Control Z. Let's see what's going on here. Oh, no, okay, that's okay. That's okay. Fine, we're good. Sorry. I just had a little bit of a brain freeze. All right, so keep going. I also noticed some underlines. I'm going to check that too because I don't know what's going on with that. So what I'm doing basically is I'm doing what a good designer would do. Now, that looks like I pretty much got it all. Nope, I still got some more. There we go. There we go. Okay, now this, let's see what happens with this. Let's see. I might have removed it. Let's see. I guess I did. Yes, I did. Enter. There we go. Okay, so now all of that's done. It looks terrible, doesn't it? But it won't look terrible in a minute when I start putting my paragraph styles on this. What it's going to do is it's going to set the font, the size, the leading, and the space after, because I got that all built in. But I'm noticing there's a bunch of these weird little things going on here. So the next thing I'm going to do, just for the heck of it, is I'm going to go to, let's see here. We want to go to review, and I want to check spelling. Okay, so high water, let's see where it is right here. High water, see what it is? High water, high dash water. I'm going to change that to high dash water. The name, the word variety is spelled wrong. I want it to be variety. Change. See what I'm doing? I'm checking this. See, they have a green chili and cilantro. They chili, but I think that's really okay. So I'm going to ignore that. And let's see. Long lost. See again, hyphen, long lost. I'm changing that. This is an Italian word. They don't know what that is, so I'm going to ignore that. Frito. I'm going to ignore that because I think that's fine that way. Misto, ignore that. What do we got here? I can't really see it. Let's see what it is. More savory. Well, they're changing this to savorier. You know what? That's probably correct. More savory, savorier. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to change it to that. And now it looks like everything's complete. Okay, so I noticed something. I went in and I checked it out, and I found a couple of things that I think would make it look better. Does that make sense to you?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I have Grammarly on both my tablet and my Mac. And
Good.
And it does that for you too.
Okay, the most important thing though, and I really want to drive this home and make sure that you get this. When you open up your feature copy, please look at the copy and note that there is an extra space between most of your paragraphs, and remove that extra space. That extra space actually is a hindrance, not a help.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yes.
Good. All right. So now I'm going to put this aside for a moment, and we're on to the next thing. I'm opening up Photoshop. The reason I'm opening up Photoshop is because I did this last week, and the bottom line is when we create a 4-color process or a process printing job, all of our images need to be checked to make sure that the size is correct and the file format is correct and that the color mode is correct. So right over here, can you see where I am?
Yes.
Okay. Right over here is my folder that I downloaded with all of my material that I'm going to be using for my assignment. This is what I got week 1. I actually got another one in here, but I downloaded this again because I wanted the images to go back to being JPEGs with RGB. So I could actually go in and show you again how to do this. And I'm not trying to just be redundant and waste time. I'm doing this because I want you guys to really understand how important it is for you to be doing this. I really want you to know it's essential. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I go File, Open, and I'm in my DES-134. I'm going to go to my desktop, and on my desktop, I have the main right here. See it, the main ingredient magazine?
Yes.
Okay, I'm opening that up, and I'm going to go to where it says Articles, and we did the editorial last week, right? That was our 2-pager, correct?
Yep.
This is our feature images. Now, here's our feature fresh herbs copy. That's what we just edited. You got that?
Yep.
All right, so we're going to go to feature images. Now, if you go into your feature images, there's only 2 or 3 images. But you can see I got a bunch of images in here. And the reason I got a bunch of images in here is because I did what you probably did. I went into those websites, looked up herbs, and I looked up steak. And I found a couple of steak images because they talk about steak in there. They also talk about lobster. I could have found a lobster one. I felt like steak. I grabbed a couple of steak images. And I found some interesting herb images which I thought would be interesting to use in my main feature layout. So these are the images I came up with. Now I'm going to open up this one here, the first one. Hit open. Now the first thing that we do here is we look up here and we see it's a JPEG. See what I'm looking at?
Yep.
All of them do this. They also show that this is in RGB. Do you see that?
Yes.
Okay, so if you want to know what any particular image is, all you have to do is look up into the tab and it will show you that it's a JPEG file currently and it's in RGB format. Okay?
Yes.
All right, now, I don't want RGB and I don't really want a JPEG. So I'm going to change those 2 things. But what I might do, just for laughs, is I might go up to the image and I might go to image size. And this one is set to 2.133 inches. So this is a width of 2 and 133. What's that? That would be like less than a quarter, about under 2¼ inches wide. The resolution is 300 pixels per inch. Now, 300 pixels per inch is a good resolution, okay, for 4-color process printing. So in this particular sense, at 2.133 inches, a little over 2 inches, I can use this image in my layout, but I can't make it any bigger than 2 inches. Do you understand that?
Yes.
All right, as long as you do. So I'm going to hit cancel because I'm just checking on that. So the first thing I want to do is I want to go to File menu, and I want to go, I think it's Save As. And I'm going to change the format from JPEG. I'm going to change it down to TIFF. See it right down the bottom there? TIFF. Okay? Notice when I do that, there's no TIFFs in here. See, there's none yet. Everything go away because they were JPEGs?
Yes.
All right. So I'm just going to I'm going to leave the phone, the number of it, the name of it the same, just changing it to a TIFF, hit save. I get this. Now, you want to compress this because you're sending it to me. So you can use the zip compression, okay? Use the zip compression on this. Normally, if I was really doing this, I probably wouldn't compress it at all. I'd hit none. But since this is a project that you're going to be emailing to me, not emailing me, but you're going to be uploading it to a site, you probably want to compress it. And I would use the zip compression, okay? You could also use the JPEG compression. Watch what happens. Not supported in older TIFF readers. I'm going to hit yes. Okay, you see what happens here? You see how this becomes available? Mm-hmm. And you could take this thing and you could slide it. You can make it smaller. See what I'm talking about? Yep. I don't want you to do that. So use zip, okay? Just use zip and hit OK. Now watch. What it says right now is it is a TIFF. So in other words, what happened is your original JPEG has essentially been released and it's sitting back in that folder unmolested. You get that?
Yes.
All right. So this is your TIFF. What color mode is it in? RGB. So what I want to do is, I got the right format. It's a TIFF. I just want to go up again to the image, go to mode, and I want to change it from RGB to CMYK. And it'll tell me this. For our purposes, just hit OK. And now we have an image which is a TIFF, and it is a CMYK image. You got that?
Yep.
All right, you're going to remember to do this, right? To all your pictures.
Oh, yes.
Okay, I'm going to close it. It's going to say, do you want to save it? I'm going to say yes. I'm going to do 2 more of them. File, open. I'm going to go to the next one. And look, first of all, just so that you see, that's my JPEG. That's my TIFF. Okay? See, there's a TIFF. Image type TIFF. This one will probably pop up and say image type JPEG. So essentially what you have to understand here is, what I've done is I've preserved my original image. I haven't messed with it. I haven't changed it. I've preserved it. I've left it just as it is. I've duplicated the image. I've created a new file type called a TIFF, and I've changed it from RGB to CMYK. Okay, it's very important that we do this. All right?
Yes.
So I'm going to click on Chicken Soup. This one here is a JPEG file. Let's see what this one is. So let's open that up. And this one is RGB. And it's also a JPEG. So the first thing I'm going to do is go in here and I'm going to go Save As. And I'm going to change the file type just to TIFF. I'm doing this the easy way I can. And now, if you remember what we had last time, there were no pictures showing, right?
Yep.
Now one is showing. You know why?
Because it's already a TIFF.
That's right. So what happens is, as we create these TIFFs, they're going to start showing up because this is TIFFs that exist already. There's only one at this point. We just made that. In a minute, there's going to be 2 of them. So I'm going to hit Save, and again, use zip. And the reason that we're using zip, the only reason that we're using zip is because you're going to be sending this thing to me. You're going to be uploading it to a site, and you want to try to make it a little bit smaller if you can. By zipping this thing, it will be a little bit smaller, a little bit easier for you to get up. That's the only reason we're doing this. If I was doing this for real, if it was going to the printer, more than likely my image compression would be none. I don't want to compress it. I want to leave it the way it is. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So I hit OK with that, and now that one's done. I close it. And I'm going to go one more, file, open, and let's go to the next one. There again, here's my JPEG. There's my TIFF. That's a JPEG. See it? Mm-hmm. Right there. And that's the TIFF right there. We'll do one more, chopping herbs. Okay, and this is RGB, and this one's a JPEG. So here we go again. image, or actually, I'm sorry, file, save as, and we're going to change it from JPEG to TIFF. Hit save, zip, okay, and then image mode CMYK, and hit OK. Now, is there, and close it like that and save it? Yes. What do you think? Can you do that?
Oh, yeah.
Any questions? Anything at all?
No.
Okay.
Oh,
So
actually, I do have one question.
go ahead.
When you save it as is, you had the IBM. Mine was set up and it's on the Mac.
That's fine. Save it on the Mac. You know why it's saving on a Mac? Because you're on a Mac.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm on a PC. So what it's going to do is it's going to read the operating system that you're on, and it's going to automatically set it up for that. Now, if you knew that you were going to be sending it to somebody who's going to be on a PC and there might be an issue, you could switch it by just saving it as a PC. And if I were sending it to you and I knew I had to prepare it for a Macintosh, I would change it to a Mac. Okay, but it is not absolutely essential unless the printer tells you specifically to do that. Okay, you can save it on. You can save it on a Mac and send it to me, and I'd still be able to open it.
Okay,
but the reason that yours says Mac and mine says PC, I'm on a PC. I'm working on a Dell computer.
Okay.
And you're working on a Mac laptop, so it knows that you're on a laptop, which is a Mac, and that's what it's going to save it based on.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right. So that's all that I want you to know. And again, I'm doing this because it's absolutely essential that, you know, you do this. I really mean this. It's not just something, I'm not trying to waste time here. It's part of what I want to teach you. You know, when you get material sent to you, we got copies sent to us. Okay, and we looked at the copy, and I noticed that, you know, this is all good copy, but it had extra space in there, and you don't want extra space. I mean, that extra space is a nuisance. It gets in the way. So you remove it. You do it right away. Before you even import the text, you remove it. This way you have text that has no extra space in there, and when you set up your paragraph styles, you put space after. And when you apply the paragraph styles to your paragraphs, because you got space after, you're going to find a nice little amount of space that you can control, right?
Yeah.
In your paragraph. If you think it's too much, you can go in and you can modify your paragraph style. If you think it's too small, you can go in and modify your paragraph style. If you have extra space, a return, can't modify that. You can't modify it. It's a space, it's a given amount of space, and it's not something that you can modify. And it's just in the way. So when somebody gives you something like that, you should look at it and you should remove them before you even go in and start working with it. That's why I'm saying you should do this. Just like when you go into Photoshop here, you're given photos. You need to look at those photos to make sure that those photos will do what you want them to do. It's all very important. I wouldn't just do this randomly, or, you know, it's part of what I need you to learn. Okay?
Yes.
All right, so let's get rid of that for a minute. Let's get rid of that, and now we're going to go into this. Okay, so here is my page 2. Now, one thing that I want to do, I'm going to take one very quick little detour before I actually begin laying out my pages. By the way, there's my page 2. This is my page 3, and there's my page 3 right here. I'm sorry, right there. There's 4 and 5 and 6. So those are the 4 pages that we are going to be working on. Now, unlike page 2 and page 7, these pages go boom, 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 right in order, right? Mm-hmm. One right after another. So we don't need continue on and continued from, because we're not jumping pages. That you understand?
Yes.
Yeah. So in other words, the only reason that we're using continued on or continued from is because this is on one page and this is on a page way back here. So we have to let them know that this is continued from page 2, and this one is continued on page 7. So they know exactly what page to go to find the rest of this article. When you have a situation like page 3 here, we're going to go from page 3 to page 4, 5, and 6, and they just are one right after another, page, page, page. We don't have to be jumping around. We don't need the continued indicators, okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right, now, before I get into start building these 4 pages, there's one little thing I want to do here. I'm going to make a little text frame right here. This is something that a number of people struggle with, and there's 2 ways that they struggled with this. Number one, they struggled with this in the setting up of their body copy. A lot of people had trouble trying to figure out how to deal with font type and leading, line height. The other thing is, and let me open this document up here. Okay, do you remember the question in the assessment? All of the following numbers are acceptable leading amounts for 10-point text except which number? And then they gave you 8, 11, 13, 15. Do you remember that at all?
Yes.
Did you have any trouble with that?
Yeah, I got it wrong.
Okay, I had a number of people get this wrong. So what I'm going to do is to try to make this clear. I mean, I think I left you. Were you able to read the comment that I left? Did you go in and bother looking at it?
Yes. Oh, yeah, I did.
Did you see where I left your comment?
Yeah.
Did it help you at all?
Yes.
Yeah, because I mean, I really, really am trying to do everything I can do to help you guys whenever I see anything, an opportunity to leave you some sort of a message, a little thing that you could look at to maybe figure it out. But I had a number of people struggle with this. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to select all this copy. I'm going to copy it, and then I'm going to go to this text frame, and I'm going to go Control-V, and I'm going to paste it all in. Now, the problem I have right away is when I paste this thing in, okay, I get this nonsense here, which is wingdings. So I'm going to select all this copy, all that copy, and I'm going to change it to Times New Roman. There we go. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the font size to 10 point. There it is. So I've got 10 point Times New Roman, and I'm going to zoom in on this so that you can see this. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select just this copy right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to demonstrate 15, 13, 11, and 8. And I'm going to show you what is the problem with this. Okay, so right now this is set to 10 over 12.5. Do you see it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is what we're referring to when we're talking about leading. That's leading. And what leading means is that you have a font size, you have a line of copy, and leading means that 12.5 means that you have an additional 2.5 points of leading. So it's 10 point plus 2.5 makes it 12.5. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's set it to 15 first. Let's go to 15, at 14, I have to go to 15. Okay, so there's 15. You see 15?
Yes.
Okay, 15 at 10 would be okay. Let me stop and let me show you. You see how that looks okay?
Yes.
It's a little bit open, but visually that would be okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this again, and I'm going to take it down to 13. Okay, and then I'm going to deselect it. And again, 13 is pretty good. You can use 13, looks pretty good, right?
Yes.
All right, let's continue. Let's go to 11. So 10 over 11. There's 11. Now, as you can see, the type is beginning to tighten up. The more tighter the font gets, the more tighter the type gets, the more difficult it's going to become to read. Can you see how this is becoming a little more difficult to read?
Yes, and that's how mine turned out.
All right, well, let me continue then. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to continue by setting this up, and I'm going to set it in what's known as solid. What happened? Okay, so what's going on? Why did that happen? Okay, there we go. I'm going to set this solid. Oops, wrong way. 10 point. 10 over 10, that is called solid. Okay? That means that there's exactly 10 points of space between the baseline and the baseline. That's what that means. Okay? That's called solid. you can use solid, but usually when you start using things like solid, you're using that on things like headlines. You never use solid on body copy. This is way too tight for you to read. And we haven't even gone near 8 yet. We are just on 10. So you understand what's going on here and why 8 would be the answer?
Yes.
Yeah. So let me just show you 8 now. Let me select this thing again. Let's get this thing selected. And let's take it down to 8. There. Look at that copy.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you see all of the following numbers are acceptable leading amounts for 10-point text, except which number?
8.
What's the correct answer?
8.
Why?
Because it's too tight.
You see it?
Yeah,
Look at that. You see how tight that is?
Yeah.
It's almost unreadable. A person would get very annoyed if you had set that up that way and tried to make them read it. I know I would. And it just is not what you should be doing. It really is no good whatsoever. And this is a very important point. And that's why when I saw so many people were struggling with this, I thought this would be a really good opportunity to actually do a demonstration of this so that it really becomes clear as to what we're talking about. Leading is one of the more important font formatting elements. It really is. So my say on this is that if this is 10-point, usually what you want is you want at least 2 points greater. So if it's 10, usually 12 is pretty good. That's usually pretty good, 10 over 12. And as you can see, there's a major difference between that and 8 right there.
Yes.
Right? And if you really want to, there's no problem with making it like 13 or 14. It all depends on the circumstance. There's 13. I've made it a little bit bigger. See, it's even open a little bit more. Yeah. Really, this is good. This is much more readable for people in general. Okay? So, again, I'm not going to go through every single thing that we did in our last quiz, our last assessment quiz, but I thought this was an important one because I noticed that people struggled with this not only in the assessment, but people were struggling with this when they were doing their layout. And I probably was telling quite a few of you, I don't know, Jessica, whether I told you this or not, but I told a lot of people that you have to work with your leading. The leading is probably not right, either too much.
Yeah, you did say, my leading needed to, and my font needed to be bigger. So
I don't know the problem I have is I don't know what font size you used and what leading you were using. So I could only go visually by looking at it visually. And that's a difficult thing for an instructor to do because I don't know what your numbers are. So I always feel reluctant to say, make it 10-point or, make it 12-point leading or 14-point because I don't know what your numbers are. And it could be what I'm saying could throw you off. So what I generally try to say is observing it that your font looks too big. Your font looks too small. If you're not fitting the copy, try making your font a little bit smaller or try making your leading a little bit smaller. Those are general suggestions that I give to try to make it possible for you as somebody who's designing something to fit your font correctly. I am going to show you next what I used for my font size for my body copy, and you might consider using that size because mine, I feel, worked out pretty good. And it's kind of like I've done a little bit of the work for you. So it's up to you whether you want to use it or not. But I just will mention that, and I'll show you in a moment. All right, so do you have any questions about this?
Not anymore.
Okay. And did that clear it up?
Yes.
Yeah. Visually, when you see something visually take place like this, it usually will clear it up. Now, just so that you understand, there are circumstances where you can use negative leading. And actually, in my main article, believe it or not, I do that very thing. I actually, and I did it deliberately, not because it looks so great, But I did it deliberately because I wanted to impress upon you that you are the graphic designer. It's your world. You create what's on the page. And it's up to you to make decisions about what is good and what's bad. Now, in the end, I might do something like this, and my customer may say, why did you do that? It looks ridiculous. And then, of course, I could fix it. But I find that there are times when you do these things and it looks really good. And you'll know what I'm talking about in a moment when I reach that point. But you'll see what I'm talking about. All right, so we're good with this?
Yeah, we're good now.
I'm going to delete this. And here's what I'm going to do. Let me go to the View menu, and let's fit this spread in window. Okay, and let me move this over a little bit so we can see, because we're going to be working on this shortly. I'm going to go to my 3-column. Okay, now look it over here. You see this? See my fresh herbs?
Yes.
Okay, this is an example of, watch this, the leading. Look, it's 46 over 33. It's actually going to be 32 because I want to make it 32. There we go. It's 46 over 32. So what does that tell you? Negative leading, correct?
Yes.
Why? Because 46 is greater than 32.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yes, I do.
46 over 46 would be set solid. But look at the size of the copy. And look at the graphic that it creates. Does it make sense to you what I'm talking about here?
Yeah, definitely.
When you have something very big like this, and you want something that's kind of fresh and cool looking, something that's a little bit different, often you'll find that using negative space like this will create what are known as ligatures. And the FH and the SB are ligatures, and they're basically where the two letters literally combine and link up to create these ligatures. So now you've got something which is not just a headline, but you've got something that visually is very unique and interesting. So again, this is where having fun with programs like this, having fun with doing layout and design work like this is what it's all about. And that's what I'm looking for you to do. I mean, really, I'm looking for you to have some fun with this. But the bottom line is, even more important than you having some fun with it to come up with something good, I want you to learn things. So what I'm trying to do in the best way I can in the short time I have is to show you things that I hope will help you learn things that will be useful for you.
It has. I mean, when I started, I didn't want to do exactly like you.
Right.
When I was, I like herbs, so that's why I chose that one.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was designing it, I wanted it to look different than yours, but professional to hell at the same time.
Right.
I frustrate myself sometimes because I argue with myself quite a bit when it comes to designing, because I have a technical side and then I have the design side. So I argue with myself with that because the way it looks or something.
Well, let me point out something to you. I have been doing design work for, well, actually since 1971. That's a very long time ago. So, and again, when I worked in 1971, I didn't know a darn thing. I mean, I literally was in high school, and I stumbled upon this lady who was looking for a graphic designer, and she decided that she liked me enough that she was going to give me this job. And I had never done design work before. And my first work, if I ever showed it to you, was horrible. But the bottom line is, it was the beginning of my career as a graphic designer in high school. And I've been working since 1971 as a graphic designer. And over the course of all those years, I've learned a tremendous amount of things. You're going to find that a lot of the problem that you're suffering right now is just inexperience. And what's going to happen is, as you go along, you're going to learn, you're going to gain experience, and you're going to find that you can begin to trust your senses about things a lot more. It really just comes down to experience is really what it's all about. And you're slowly gaining the experience now. The most important thing for you guys, all of you, not just you, Jessica, but everybody, is that you try to learn as much of the stuff that we cover here as you possibly can. Because it's very important that, you know, the things that I show you do apply to the kind of work that you're doing. And it certainly applies to the program. And I'm not the only instructor here, and there's other instructors that are going to show you other things. So everybody's got something to add to the pot, but I got something to add to the pot. And I try to show you the stuff that I can add to the pot, hoping that it'll stick and it'll become part of your arsenal when you work with this program. But beyond that, knowing things like, you know, when you get copy given to you, how to look at that copy and make decisions about the way that copy is presented to you and whether it's useful for you or not. And if it isn't useful, what do you got to do to make it useful, which we just went through with this copy. And also, you know, coming in and getting yourself some pictures, okay, and looking at the pictures and understanding, you know, like, let's go to, so object, let me see. Oh, I'm still in InDesign. That's the problem. There we go. Where are we at here? Okay, image size, checking to see. Now this guy here, look at this. This guy here is 8.5 inches wide. That's big enough for me to bleed. You understand? And it's 300 pixels per inch. So what I'm saying to you is that all these pictures, and it's just now is in CMYK, and it's a TIFF because I made it that way. Each of these pictures has its own use and its own size. These are important things for you to understand as a graphic designer as you work with these things. It's very important for you to know this stuff because this is the tools that are going to make what you do a success. All right?
Yeah.
I'll go to View menu. Let me fit spread in window. Okay, so let me do this real quickly. I'm going to go View, and I'm going to come into Screen Mode. Right now I have Screen Mode set to normal. But I want to apply preview so that you get a preview of this. So this is my first page of my 4-page spread. Then if I go to my next, there are my next 2 pages of my spread. And let's go to my last page, which is right here. And there's my last page of the 4-page spread. Okay?
Yes.
So now you see what I did. And what I'm going to do is it's 8:02. I got an hour left tonight and I have 2 hours tomorrow. I am going to go through my process of building this, and I'm going to show you as much as I can of what I did. I got a couple of really cool tricks here, like for instance how I ragged this type. See how I got this type ragging around this image?
Yeah, I was going to ask about that.
You're going to see how I do it because I'm going to show you. It's absolutely cool. You're going to love it. You're going to absolutely love it. Look at this. See how it's ragged around there?
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, look at this. Isn't that fabulous? It just rags right around that. So really, you know, we're talking about a couple of things that are kind of advanced, but they're great to know, and that's what we're all about. We're all about learning stuff, and this is some of the things that we're going to be covering. I don't think we'll get to this tonight. I think we'll probably get to this tomorrow, but the bottom line is I'm going to show you how I did this. I'll do all of this again, and you'll see how I did it, and you can employ some of this stuff on your own to create this same sort of look. All right?
Yeah.
All right, let's go back to page 3. Actually, let's go through 2, 3. Okay, so I'm going to start off simple. Go back to mine, and what I'm going to do is the first thing I got to do is I got 1, 2, 3, 4 pages, and I've decided. Oh, by the way, we were talking about you and your copy. Okay, let's do that. Remember we were talking about your body copy?
Yes.
Having trouble with your body copy?
Yes.
Okay, let's do the first thing. Let's go to the File menu, Edit. Here we go. Edit. Go to Preferences, and let's go to Units, Grids. See where Grids?
Yes.
All right, now, look at what I got. See my baseline grid?
Yes.
Okay. I have my baseline grid starting at 0.5, which is 1/2 of an inch from the top. That's the first thing.
Okay.
And, of course, relative to top of the page, obviously.
Yeah.
I've incremented it every 14 points. Now, I don't know whether you've done any of this or not, but this is what I did for mine.
Mine set at 10 points.
Well, you can try changing it to 14 points and see if that works a little bit better. So if you want to make a note of that, because that's what I have. I have 10. I have a 0.5 at start, top of page, increment 14 points, And then, of course, my view threshold is set to 75%.
Yeah, mine is too.
Okay. And again, I'm not a big lover of baseline grids, but I have to use them in here for the course. I'm using them. Okay. I'm going to hit OK. And then what I did, just so that you know, is I set a 3-column format on mine. I found that based on the copy that I have here and the overall scheme of my magazine, I felt that a 3-column was good. So I recommend that you use a 3-column. Now let me just quickly show you. Let's go to layout, margins, and columns. And what I have here is I have the number of columns set to 3. And I have the gutter set to 0.125. Now, do you know what 0.125 is equal to?
That's a quarter of an inch?
No, that's 0.25. 125 is an eighth of an inch.
Eighth of an inch. Okay.
Yeah. 125 is an eighth of an inch. And the reason I know that is because one of the most common things that you do is you create what's known as a bleed. See that red area in that picture?
Yes.
Both of those are bleeding off the page. See, they go right to that red line?
Mm-hmm.
That's your trim. That's your bleed. So when I have something that goes to the trim, I got to make it go an eighth of an inch beyond the trim to the bleed. So that picture is going to bleed. That color area is going to bleed as well. All right?
Okay.
Critical that you know these things. All right, so basically 3 columns, 0.125. And I'm going to hit OK because I'm not changing it. That's what I used on mine. And if you did it as something else and you want to change it, you can go up here to your masters and you can go in and you can change it, go to the layout and go to margins and columns. Watch what happens if I make this thing 4 and hit OK. Now watch when I come down here. Did it change? It didn't change it. Why didn't it change it? Let's see here. Let's try it again. Layout, margins and columns. 4. There we go. Hit OK. There. You see how it changed to 4?
Yes.
Now watch this. Oh, it didn't change it. Oh, I have to apply to. I guess I have to apply to master to everything. Okay. See how it changed it now?
Yes.
Okay. But I don't want to do that. I'm going to go edit, undo. Let's see if we can undo it. And let's go edit, undo, margins and columns. Let's go to my master. And let's see what my master's showing me. Yeah, it's basically back to 3. Okay. I've determined that 3 with an eighth of an inch of gutter is what I want. Okay?
Okay.
So that's important. Those are the things. Now, as far as we've established a baseline grid, I am going to open up my paragraph panel because I want you to see this. You see that line right there? That's my paragraph style called main body.
Okay.
That is my paragraph style. That is that right there. I've established this for all the body copy that I'm going to use through my magazine. And I'm going to keep it consistent. I want it to be consistent because this is one magazine. All right?
Okay.
Now, what's important is for you to understand what I used here. So I'm going to click to place my cursor in there. And you can see it says Times New Roman regular 10 point over 14. So do you see what I did? I made it 10 point Times New Roman regular, but I've given it, instead of 12, I've given it 14. I've got a little extra space in there. And you can see it's a little more open, a little more readable.
Yes.
Now, watch this. I'm going to double click on this, and I'm going to go to my basic character formats, and I'm going to see it says Times New Roman, regular, 10 over 14. Oh, and the kerning, I changed the kerning from metrics to optical. The reason I chose optical is because this is going to be printed. And usually your kerning, when you're printing something, you want to have optical as opposed to right here, metric.
Okay.
Metric. Okay. So really, all I did was I made sure that it's Times New Roman regular 10 over 14 optical. Okay. Now, indent and spacing. I'm going to go to indent and spacing. Come on. Oh, here we go. All right. Now, the only thing that is in my spacing is, see where it says space after?
Yes.
And it's 0.0625 inches. Now, I'm going to hit cancel because I'm not changing this, but just keep in mind that this is a paragraph style not a character style. And one of the reasons that I use a paragraph style for this is because if I used a character style, I would not be able to get that indent and spacing in it. And I want that indent and spacing in it, so I made it a paragraph style. Does that make sense?
Yes.
You sure?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to hit cancel. Now, here's the deal. You see where it says too much right there?
Mm-hmm.
And you see where it says speed is not the only problem?
Yes.
Okay, do you see that little bit of space between there?
Mm-hmm.
That's my space. Now, what you have to understand is this. Watch what happens. I'm going to click and place my cursor there. And I'm going to hit enter. Now, I am going to deselect that. And can you see how much space is there?
Yes.
Why? Because number one, I have a little bit of extra space after, plus I have a return. Now, I can remove that space after, but if I do, I'm still going to have this huge gap between there, which I can't control. So I don't want to do that. That's why anytime you have an extra space in there, they got to go. You can't have those extra spaces. And that's something that should be done up in here. That's the reason that I'm doing this. So I can get rid of that extra space. I can go in and I can feed a space after into my paragraph style. And I can apply spacing in such a way that I can control this. If I wanted to, I can go into main body and watch what happens. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to choose indent and spacing, and I'm going to make that bigger. Okay? And now watch what happens when I close this guy. Let's apply it. Hit OK. Okay, did you see it all open up?
Yes.
Okay, let's see if I can go edit undo. There. Okay, and let me go back and let me just check this because I don't want to modify this. Let's go to indent and spacing 625. Okay. In other words, I didn't really want to change it. All I wanted to do, I'm going to hit cancel. All I wanted to do is I wanted to give you some idea of how you control that spacing and space after. So I can change the leading if I want, and I would do that. If I'm going to do it, I've created a style here. I don't want to select font like this, and I don't want to change anything up in here. Because look, you see what's highlighted?
Yes.
What does it say?
Main body.
Right. So that main body is my paragraph style. It's very important that you understand that I created that paragraph style for my paragraphs. If I want to change that in any way, usually the things that I would be changing, like this, would be basic character formatting. Maybe I would change the font. Maybe I would change the weight. Maybe I would change the size. Maybe I would change the leading. I wouldn't change optical because optical is correct for print. And then, of course, indented spacing. I would either make it greater or less. And these are some of the things that you could do to modify your text so that it will better fit your page. Hit cancel because I don't want to change any of it. Does that help you at all?
Yes.
What about your question, your issue? Do you think that that addresses what your problem was?
Yes.
Yeah, you do?
Yeah.
Good. Okay, I hope so. The other thing is you have these columns. I got 3 columns here, okay? And, you know, the height of your columns, however much copy you're going to apply, is based on how much of this column you're going to use. And I have like 4 pages here. And let's go to here. As you can see, my first page, I have an area at the top that I have to avoid using because what I want to do is I want to put a nice headline up there, and I want to put a subheadline, and I have a byline. So I want to do that. Then I also decided that I am a herb fanatic. I was going to pump that up and make something special out of that. And then I even decided that I was going to put in a block of copy that was colored to give it a little bit more oomph. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Then the rest of this becomes type just like this. That's, if I click on this, watch, let me bring my paragraph styles out. Look, main body, look it, right there, see it? Main body, right there. Watch when I click on this. Main body, see? Main body. They're both the same one. Now this is a different document, so the main body is different, but it isn't different. It's the exact same thing, all right?
Okay.
All right, so just so that you understand that. All right, so let's go back to this one. And this one here is, let's see what we got here. We got paragraph style, And this is 10 over. Actually, this is a little bit different. This is actually 10 over 14. So the other one's 11 over 14. But we'll see how that works out. Okay, so at any rate, what I want to do now is I want to begin to get my pages ready. All right, oops, let me go. I have layers here. I have image layer, I have text layer, I have a background layer, and I have a guide layer. That's another very important thing. Set up layers. The reason that you need layers is I have those pictures. Let's go to my other layout real quickly. Hold on a minute. Let me go to my other layout here. Okay, see that picture right there? See that picture right there? Mm-hmm. Believe it or not, let's go to my layers. They should be on my background layer, and they are. You see that?
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Okay, now the reason that they're on the background layer is because I have a text layer above it. And then I have on my image layer the items that I created, which are blocking the text from going on top of those images. Okay?
Okay.
All right, so it doesn't make a whole lot of sense what I'm telling you right now, but soon when you see what I did, it will make sense. And we'll get there probably tonight, and then we'll finish this up tomorrow. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So let's go back to this. Let's go back to this guy here. Oops, cancel. Go back to this one. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get my type tool, and I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to create my frames. So I'm going to make my frames about like that. There's my frames. I probably could make it a little bit longer. Let me make it just a little bit longer, maybe about to there. Okay? Now, to make this easy, instead of drawing all these frames, I'm just going to go edit, copy, edit, paste in place. And then I'm going to hold the shift key down, and I'm going to use the right arrow key to move it over into the next column and make sure that I situate it right on the guides. See what I did?
Yes.
Okay. Now I'll go edit, paste in place again, and I'm going to hold down the shift key, and I'm going to move this one over until I get it on top of the guides like that. Now there are my pages for, or my columns for page 3. And this is exactly what I did on page 2 and 7. Do you remember me doing that at all?
Yes.
All right. So now what I want to do is I want to select all 3 of them, and I want to go edit, copy, okay? Mm-hmm. Then I'm going to go to my pages, and I'm going to go to 4 and 5, and I'm going to go edit, paste in place. Boom. And because it was on the right-hand side, it pastes in position on the right-hand side. So I need to get them over to here. So I'm going to go edit, paste in place again, hold down the shift key, and I'm going to left arrow it over until it hits my guides over here. Now, there we go. Now I've got my, see what I got? My frames here, my frames here. See that? Mm-hmm. All right, so you understand what I'm doing?
Yeah.
No mystery, right?
No mystery.
Now, so far, here's what I want to do. So I've got 3, 4, and 5 done. I got to do 6. So I'm going to click on, first of all, what I want to do is I want to select this side. Why do I want to select this side? 6 is on the left-hand side. So I select the left-hand ones, and I go edit, copy, right?
Yep.
And then go to 6 and 7 and go edit, paste in place. Boom. And now I have all the frames that I need on all of my pages. Now what I got to do is go back to 3, and what I got to do is I got to link all of these frames together. Do you remember how I linked them together?
Yes. The arrow, the little square thing on the
outport
of the grid.
Oh yeah, outport of the frame, and then I'm going to click on the column next to it. So watch. So what you do is you're going to get your selection tool. You're going to click the frame. There's your little outport. See that little square there?
Yes.
And you click. Right. That's called an outport. I just want you to know what it is. It's an outport.
Okay.
Click on it and see what your cursor does.
Yes.
And then you come over here and you click. And I have, go to my, I think it's type. Let's go, where are we at here? I think maybe it's, is either object, no, view, let's see, structure, where are you at here? Structure, no, I guess it's type. Where are you at? Show hidden characters, fill with placeholder, insert, where are you at here? Where is it? Object, wow, where was it? I thought it was under type. Can't find it. Show hidden characters. No, I don't know. I can't find it now. Structure. Nope. Grids and guides. Let's see here. Extras. Where are you at? Grids and guides. I'll be darned. I can't find it. I can't find where it is now. Isn't that something? Where are you? Type. I can't remember where it is now. All right, I'll try to think of it later. I can't remember where it is. It's in here somewhere. But anyway, what you're going to do is you're going to continue clicking, okay, and connecting. So now I have this column connected to that column, connected to that column, okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I click on the output on page 3, and then what I do is I switch to page 4 and 5, and then I click here, okay, and you see how I've linked to that?
Yes.
Make sure you go from page 3 to page 4. You're working this way. So now I click on the output here, and I click here, and it connects to there. Then I click on the output here, and I click to connect it to that frame right there. These 3 are connected with page 3. Are we good so far?
Yep.
Okay, did you have any trouble doing this last week?
No, I actually enjoyed that. It was so easy.
And you're going to find that you're not going to have any more trouble doing it here, because this is basically just logically going from page to page in left to right order, connecting the frames. So here I'm at this point where I got to click here, and then I come over here and I click to link it to there. See how it's showing where it's connecting?
Mm-hmm.
Click here and connect it there. Click here, connect it there. So there's 3, 4, and 5 done. I'm going to click the output on the last column, switch to 6 and 7, come over to the first column and connect it. See it coming in?
Yep.
All right. Click here and connect, and click here and connect. That is the ugliest part of the whole process, is making sure that you have those 4 pages properly connected. That's critical. Make sure that you do that correct. All right?
Yep.
All right. Now, the next part is kind of fun. What we're going to do is I'm going to go back to my document here. That's the wrong one. I'm going to close this because it's in the way. Go to this fresh feature article. So fresh herbs, a chef's guide to how to store, use, and handle fresh herbs to pack a punch of flavor in any dish, by Amanda Powers. That is going to be my headline. That is going to be my subheadline. That is going to be my what? What is that called?
Byline.
There you go. You got it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to click and I'm going to drag all the way down through all this copy. Oh, come on, darn you, you son of a gun. I probably have to go to, let me go to the bottom.
I have the same problem.
Yeah, it normally don't do that. Let me go up and we'll go up. All right, so I'm going to bring it up all the way up to here, and I'm going to get it just like that. And then I'm going to right click on mine because I'm on a PC, and I'm going to copy it. Okay? Mm-hmm. Then what I'm going to do is get my type tool, and I'm going to click here and Control V, and I've pasted that in. Now check this out. So here, let me go to the view menu. Hold on. I should leave this open. Go to the view menu, and let's go fit spread in window. There we go. And there's page 5. There's page 4. Okay? Here's page 6. You don't see anything on page 6 yet. So basically, my copy got as far as here. Okay? So it's here, right? And it's here, here, and here, and it got so far as there. and then the rest of this is kind of dead. So maybe what I would do with this is, let's try. Well, you know what? Before I actually do this, let me do this. Let me first of all apply my my style sheet to this, and let's see what that does. So let me go to page 1. Yeah, let's see what this does. So click in here, and I'm going to go Command A. I selected all of this, and let's go to my paragraph style right there, and let's apply main body, which it looks like it actually already did. Main body. It applied main body already. Okay, so I actually got it in there already. So maybe what I need to do with this is create a new one. Let's duplicate this. You know what? Before I do that, I'm not going to do that yet. So we got the copy in place. Let's start building my other design. So let's take a look at the other design. So what did I do here? I started off by allowing some space at the top for my head, my subhead, and my byline. So let's take a look at my paragraph style. Let's see what I got, if I got anything here. This is my basic paragraph. I guess that's it. Let me call this. Let me create a new paragraph style. Call it subhead. S-U-B-H-E-A-D, subhead, and hit OK. Oh, hit cancel. Let me do this. All right, let's call this. This is feature, S-U-B-H-E-A-D, feature subhead. Hit OK. There we go. Okay. So now I have a feature subhead, and there we go, feature subhead. All right, hit cancel. All right, so now I got a feature subhead. This here is my headline. Okay. I don't want to format this because I want to build this, and I want to show you how this gets done. So basically what I want to do is I want to figure out how much space I used up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drag a guide out, and I'll bring the guide down to about where my copy begins, which is right about there. Okay, and it looks to me like, let's see here, let me click on my guide. Click on my guide. Okay, and the guide is at 1.955. All right, so let's go back to my build, and let me do this. Let me click and drag a guide to right there. Okay, and you see where it says 0.3 inches?
Yes.
All right, so watch what I'm about to do. I'm going to click on this guy. Now, you aren't going to be able to do this, and I'll tell you why. Because you're going to have to make your own determination of the amount of space that you're going to use for your subhead. By the way, just so that you know, there's nothing wrong with using 1.955 inches for your headline area if that's what you want to do. That's not a problem. You could do that if you want. You could make it bigger. You could make it smaller. You could even put a picture up above it and then put your headline beneath the picture. I'm not trying to tell you to do exactly what I do. I'm just trying to give you an idea of the steps that I use to create the thing that I'm working on here. Okay? Do you understand?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not trying to make you follow exactly what I do, and I don't want you to even think that's where I'm going with this. I'm just figuring that by showing you some of the things that I do, it'll teach you some things that you could possibly do when you think about how you want to lay yours out. So let's do this. Let's change 0.03 or 0.3 to 1.956 and hit enter. And can you see what happened? Can you see how my line jumped way down there?
Yes.
All right, good. Now watch. I'm going to take my columns, and I'm going to just bring my columns down to that line. You see what I'm doing here?
Yes.
Bringing my columns down to that line. So in other words, basically what it comes down to is my columns are not going to be any higher than that line right there. And that allows two things to happen. Yeah, this guy here is going to have to move up a little bit. There we go. Okay, so that probably works. Oh, and I got this here, which is a one-line widow. So let me see if I can adjust that. There we go. And this guy is going to have to come down a little bit. In the refrigerator, let me do this. Yeah, here we go. That's probably pretty good at their best. This has got a one-line widow at there, so let's do this. Let's drag that one down. You see what I'm doing? I'm not only, I gotta bring that a little bit lower. Okay, what I'm doing is I'm looking at the, see again, see what's happening up here?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what you're doing is I'm trying to make this thing behave. Okay, so there we go. So now we have number 1 starting here, and we have number 2, 3, and 4. I'm not crazy about that, but you know, again, that's how it's working out. This guy here, on the other hand, this is a subhead. So that subhead probably belongs up there. Yeah, there we go. Okay, now this guy here has to come down or come up. That's what we got to do. Bring it up a little bit again. There we go. Okay, unfortunately, that's kind of what we're stuck with. Now, if I want, I can take this and I can move this up a little bit, and now that copy went to the other page. So you see, basically, let me deselect this, and let me show you what I got. Okay, I got nice even stuff up at the top here. This is a subhead, so I'm not too concerned about it because in the end, I'm going to make it into a subhead, and it's going to look different, and that'll be cool. So that's okay. This is also a subhead, so I'm cool with that as well. All right, yeah, so, and then I got 1, 2, 3, 4, how many are just 3? Okay, so I got 3 of these things right here, which are going to be formatted. And then let's go to the next page. Let's see what we got here, 4 and 5. Okay, so you see now we got page 4 is full, and you see now it's starting to flow on to page 5. Okay?
Yeah.
Now 6, there's nothing on 6, so that means we're going to have to do some adjusting with this, but of course we have pictures to put in and text to rag, and a lot of that is going to take care of a good bit of this. We may end up ultimately changing a font size on this. We may actually end up making this slightly bigger, but I'm not going to jump into that just yet. I'm sort of going to hold my powder on this one and wait and see what happens. Again, I got this problem right here, which is a 1-line widow. So what I would probably do with this, I'd probably drag that down a little bit to get that 1-line widow out of there. But that's not something I should be worrying too much about at this point because it's going to re-rag anyway. All right, so I'll just leave this alone for the time being. All I'm doing basically is I'm kind of just looking over this thing to see what I got. Let's take a look at my paragraph styles here. All right, so let's see here. I got ordered list, edit subhead, pull quote, main body, byline. Okay, let me go into this. And let me click on, let me go to this page here. There we go. Okay, so let's see what we got here. Cooking with herbs. There we go. Let me see what this is. Cooking with herbs. Let's see what that is. That is a paragraph style, main subhead. All right, so let's take a look at what main subhead is. And do I have that on the other one? Well, let me see first what this is. So let's open up main subhead. And it is basic character style. It's Gotham. Gotham, bold. And it's 11/14. Metrics, this actually should be optical, so I'm changing it. And then indents and spacing. Okay, space before, check it out. Space before is 0, 6, 2, 5. And space after. After is 0.125. What's 0.125? You remember?
Inch.
Eighth of an inch.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so let me go back into here. Let me go back into mine, and let's find one of these. Okay, see dry and herb? Right there. Okay, so I said it. I don't know whether that's it or not. No, that's not it. Okay, that's not the one that I want. All right, so what I want to do is I'm going to format this guy. Let me go in here, and let's format this guy. So it's Gotham. All right, let me just go to basic paragraph. Okay, so let's go in here, and let's set it to Gotham. Okay, and the size is 11. Oops, wrong way. 11/14. Boom. And then what I want to do is I want to create a new paragraph style, and we're going to call this feature, Feature dash sub, S-U-B. And that's not right. F-E. Geez, I'm typing bad tonight, aren't I? Feature, there we go. Feature sub. Sub. There we go. Sub 2. There we go. That's good. And hit OK. All right, now we have that. And what we're going to do with this is we're going to come in here and change it. Let's go back in and change it. Feature sub 2. Let's go to basic character formatting. I don't want it to be extra light. I want it to be bold. Okay, so that's that. And then what I want to do is I want to have indents and spacing. Space before 0625, correct? Remember?
Mm-hmm.
And then the space after is
125.
125. Now, one other thing that I want to do, and you could do this, and see here, the reason that I'm doing this as a paragraph style is because this subhead incorporates space before, space after, and color. Now, I could use color on a character style, but I really can't use space before and space after. Okay, so you understand why I'm doing it?
Mm-hmm.
I want this to be that green color. And then I'm going to hit OK. And now watch. Look at that. You see how I got some nice space there and it comes out?
Yes.
All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here. I'm going to click on that. And I'm going to apply feature sub 2. And then I think here's another one, cleaning herbs, feature sub 2. You see the text growing through the page right now?
Yes.
Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to look through here. Tools are important. Here's another one. Tools are important. Feature sub 2. See if you see any others. There's cooking with herbs. Did I get that one? I don't think I got cooking with herbs.
You didn't get that one yet.
There you go. And is there any more here? I don't think so. I think I got them. You see any more?
No, I don't see any more.
Let's go to page 3. Let's see what's on page 3. All right, so let's see what we got here. This is, I think, one. We could use it. We could apply it to that. And yeah, the problem with this is it's going to break the line. Eesh. All right, well, we're going to have to deal with that later on. I'm not going to worry about this right this second, but we just got to keep that in mind that
herb storage?
Yeah, there's definitely one right there, herb storage. We're going to hit that one, feature sub 2 as well. Okay, so now we have, just so that you know, at this point, we have, and I want you to also notice that, see the subheads now have a nice amount of space in front of it and a nice amount of space behind it. And there's a nice little amount of space between the end of that paragraph and the beginning of that paragraph. Visually, this looks very nice. Okay?
Yep.
All right, now the other thing I have is here, I have the order list, okay? And I have 3 in the order list. Let's see what happens when I apply the order list. I'm going to click on that and hit the order list, and look what happens. Look at that. Isn't that insane? Because I already established the EDI order list from this page here, page 7. Let's go to page 7 and you'll see what I'm talking about. There's my ordered list. Look, see my ordered list?
Yes.
Okay, so what I did essentially was I really do have an ordered list. That's what that is, 1, 2, and 3. That's an ordered list. So I already have a style that I built for that, and I just hit that style, and voila, I got my order list in there. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So I have some basic formatting. I mean, you can still see trouble brewing here, like I got this thing happening here, but you know what? I'm not done with all this stuff yet, so I'm still in the process. So what I want to do now is I want to come in here and I want to build these 2 elements at the top. All right. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and I'm going to place a rectangular shape right there like that, and I'm going to go to my copy, and it's fresh herbs. And I'm going to copy that, okay? And I'm going to paste it, Control V. And what I want to do is I'm going to zoom in on this, okay? So you can really see what I'm doing. I'm going to come in. Oh, and by the way, can you see my baseline grid?
Yes.
Okay, because I'm viewing this thing now at 125%, you can now see the baseline grid. But the baseline grid is there. Can you also see how this is attaching itself to the baseline grid?
Yes.
Okay, so you understand what that's doing.
Mm-hmm.
Great. So I want fresh herbs to be in 2 lines. So I'm just going to hit enter. Now look, I got 10/14. That's just basic formatting. I'm going to select this. I know it's going to be Gotham, and I know it's going to be black or bold. Okay, bold. Now I don't remember the exact size, so I'm going to come in here and I'm going to go in and I'm going to find my layout, click on it. And the size is 46% over 32. All right, so let's go back And also I noticed that the visual spacing has been adjusted to -15. But we'll deal with that in a minute. So let's go back to this guy right here, and let's set this up to 46. This is 48. Let's go to 46. Okay, so there's 46 and over 32. Now notice this is over, let's go to 46 over 46, 48. Okay. Oh, and by the way, when you do this, because the box isn't big enough, there you go. Okay. I'm going to adjust that box in a second. So what I want to do is I want to select this copy and I want to bring it down to touch. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to keep walking this up until it touches. Right there. See that?
Mm-hmm.
Now, again, what happens? You click on it, it's 46. This time it's 46 over 27. Now, why it's different, I don't know, but it is. It's okay. And what I'm going to do is select this now, and I'm going to come in here and get my colors, and I want that to be green. And there we have that. Now, if I want, I can select the frame, object, and go to fitting, and fit frame to content. So now I have basically got my fresh herbs right there. And what I want to do is I want to click on this guy here, and I want to hit enter. And I want to click on this. I'm a herb fanatic. And I think what I want to do is, I don't remember what I did on it actually. Let me go back to my other one and see. Let me see what my other one looks like. There we go. I am a herb fanatic is Gotham 16 bold. I'm pretty sure that's what it is, or medium. That's probably what it is. So let's go to this, and let's go Gotham 16, 14, 15, 16, and I think it was, where are we at here? I don't see it. You know why I don't see it? Because this has been detached. I want it to be medium, I think. Or was it medium metallic? Let me just quickly look. Yeah, medium metallic. Okay, so there it's medium italic. There we go, right? So there's my first line, and what I want to do is I want to put my byline in there, so I'm going to click and put another frame in here, okay, another frame, and I'm going to go to my feature, and I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to grab by Amanda Powers, copy it, and I'm going to paste it, Control V, by Amanda Powers. And what I think I'm going to do with this is I'm going to probably go medium with it. Italic, maybe it was just italic. I guess that's what it was, really. Let's see here. It was bold italic. That's what it was. Okay. So it was bold italic. We'll go to bold italic. There we go. And I actually think it's probably 10 over 14. I think that's probably the size that I used, although I probably did move it down a little bit. Okay. And I moved it over probably a little bit as well, sort of like that. And then I selected this guy, and I made it that nice red color. All right. And if I'm not mistaken, my herb, oh, it's black. I think I just left it black. That's black, right? Let's see. Yep, that's black right there. Okay. And let's go view. Let's go to this. All right. And let's take a look. So I'm close. I'm close. What I did do, though, is here on this paragraph, I selected this paragraph, and I turned that green as well, I believe.
Yes, you did.
There we go. So now I have my whole top area built. The only thing I need to do now is, and I think I also set this to be, did I go negative? Where was it? Negative optical. I think it was negative 15. I don't know why I did that. Negative 10. No, I'm sorry. It wasn't that. It was this. It was negative 10, I think. Negative 15. Whoops. Nope, 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 nope. I guess I have to do it this way. Negative 15. Try that. 15. Yeah, I think that's the look I was going for right there. I think so. Now I'm going to go object, fitting, where you at? Fit frame to content. Oh, it did. Okay, and I'm going to close this off because I want this over here. There we go. So now I'm going to create another text frame right here. right here. I'm going to create that all the way over to about there for now. All right. And I don't know whether I have a style for this or not. Let's see if I do. Let's go to my paragraph style. Subhead. Okay, so I wonder if I have that in my other one. Let's see. Let's see. Feature subhead. Yep, I guess I do. Okay, so let's try it out and let's see if I actually do. So I'm going to come in here to my feature, and this is the line that we're looking for right here. Chef's Guide. And click on it, copy it, and paste it in there, Control V. Okay, select it, Control A. Let's go to feature subhead 2, right? No, that's not it. Wait a minute, pull quote. I think, no, that wasn't really it. Let me go back to this. Hold on, let me see. Maybe I didn't make a style in there. Feature subhead. All right, so let's do this. It's the I'm going to make this. So it's feature subhead main. Okay, because I have a subhead already in there. And it's 23 over 23. And again, it's metric, but it shouldn't be metric. It really should be optical. And let's see, is there anything else? Paragraph, let's see. Yeah, so, well, I don't need that stuff, I don't think, really. So I think we're good. Okay, so let's do this. Let's go into this, and let's set this thing up for character. It's 23. Go to 24. Make it 23. 23 over 23. And what was it else? Optical. There we go. And click off of this guy. There we have it. My frame has got to be opened up a little bit. There. Okay, so you see basically now this guy here kind of like matches up. See how it matches up? Go to the view menu and let's go screen mode, preview, and there's what we got so far. Okay, now maybe what I would do is move this over just a little bit like that. All right, and then the only other thing that I would do here is click here, and I would go to my type menu, and I would go to my glyphs panel. And as you can see, I've been using some glyphs here, right?
Yes.
This is the one glyph that I think I was using. So I click on that, and I place that glyph in there. And that right there, let's go to the window. Let's go to the view menu, fit, spread, and window. There's my first page, all done. Okay, now, of course, it isn't completely all done because I still have some tweaking to do on this. I mean, I'm going to drag this down a little bit. Oh, I see already. I caught something. By Fresh Herb, I believe that's a subhead. Let's go back up. Yeah, I think right there, that is a subhead, purchasing fresh. That almost got away from me. See that?
Yeah, just a second ago.
Yeah, EDA subhead. No, that's not right. Feature subhead. There we go. That's it. That's the guy right there. Okay, so there we have that. That looks pretty good. Yeah, this one here, probably in order to make this a little bit better, I'd probably bring that up a line or two. Maybe I'll bring up one more line. Good. Yeah, so now you see that looks pretty good. See how that looks good? There's a little bit of...
Actually, it's not showing me anything.
But what?
Like it's stuck. Your screen is either stuck because I didn't see the part you changed.
Can you see my screen?
I can see it, but your mouse or anything like that, I can't see none of that moving or...
Can you see it, my mouse moving now?
No.
Oh, no. You're kidding.
It must have just got stuck because I didn't see how you did the subline, the Chief's guide. It just got stuck, and I didn't see you put in your little design.
Can you see that column number 3 selected?
No.
All right, it's not selected now. You don't see that thing selecting?
No.
Okay, I'll tell you what. There's something wrong with the program. It's now 8:49. in order to make this not a disaster, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the recording. I'm going to end the lesson here, and we'll pick up here tomorrow morning. There's something wrong with Zoom, and I don't want to go any further and run into a problem where you aren't able to really see what I'm doing. So I'm gonna end it here now because I don't know why this is doing this. Hopefully tomorrow when we come back in here to work, it will not be a problem. We will not have that problem. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stop right now. Let me go up and let's stop.